You're watching the Sunbeam Alpine Channel on YouTube, and today we're back in a very cold Oily Puddles garage. Today I'm going to show you how to make a really rather amazing tool. This is it. This will take a matter of minutes to make. You'd make one of these in half an hour at most. It will save you hours and hours of work, can be used on multiple different classic cars, and will prevent you from possibly damaging the gearbox or overdrive unit on your car. I would love to say this was my idea. It wasn't. It was thought up by Cliff Johnson, who's appeared on this channel a couple of times before. As well as being a really nice guy and a bit of a comedian, he is a great mechanic, very, very creative. And he comes up with solutions to problems. Now, if you've ever tried to remove the oil seal from the tail unit of a Laycock to Normanville Overdrive, you'll know that they can be extremely difficult to get out. They're held in place by a circlip. It's hard to get behind the seal. I've seen people try and jam little screwdrivers down the side. It's difficult to lever it. And you can end up damaging the tail unit of the overdrive. Now, if you've got an idea that's going to solve that, it's well worth exploring. Well, Cliff had the idea, he built the tool, and boy does it work. And I'm going to show you how to build the same sort of thing here. Now remember, with a Sunbeam Alpine, the oil seal for many of the non-overdrive Alpines is exactly the same part number as it is for the Laycock Overdrive. So with most of the rear oil seals, you'll be able to pull them out using this tool. But it's exactly the same if you had an MGB, a Triumph, an Austin-Healey. There might be some differences in dimension. The principles of this are what you should adopt. Let me show you how this works. Can you talk us through it, Cliff, how it works?
Right, well, there's a seal that I pulled out earlier. Front of this compacts in, squeezes in. You push it into the seal like that. You then push the other shaft through and it opens the front up. You put a little pin in there and then you just literally pull the whole seal out.
It's not unusual to have to change the rear gearbox seal. The back suspension, the rear suspension of the car is going up and down all the time. The prop shaft is being pushed forward and backwards into the gearbox, and the yoke is going through that seal and back all the time. You've only got to get some dirt and rubbish on there. Over time it eats into the seal, lip of the seal, and makes it leak. So it's not a really uncommon thing to have to change that rear seal. I'm going to go under the car in a minute and you'll see how restricted the access is and how difficult it is to get to it. But even when they're on the bench, pulling these gearbox or overdrive seals out can be a real pain, which is why Cliff's tool is so useful and why I'm really blown away by it. It is a brilliant idea. Okay, I'm under the Alpine now and I'm looking along the transmission tunnel. You can see the end of the overdrive there tucked up inside the body of the car. You can see the circlip that's holding the oil seal in. The main shaft is coming through there. That's where the yoke of the prop shaft will go over, and the lip of the oil seal will seal against that part of the prop shaft. There's not a lot of room, there's not much space. You can't get to that very easily at all. Now, getting that out without butchering things can be a challenge. That's where this tool comes in handy. Here we are, back underneath the car. This time we've got the tool here. Now you can see the open sleeve there at the top. If I was going to change this oil seal, I would put that there, push that over the shaft, past the oil seal, obviously after taking the circlip out, then push the inner chrome tube into the gearbox to open out that the outer tube, put the pin in and jerk that seal out of the gearbox. all without having to disturb the gearbox. I've done nothing other than take the prop shaft off.
So because you've got the gap in this other pipe with the end bent over, when you push it in, you push the new shaft in, opens it up, drop a pin in there and just pull it out.
That is really clever. That's great. We'll share that on the channel and see if anybody else can make something similar. Well done. This is a gearbox that has had the seal changed, but you can see the principle of how Cliff's tool would work. If you line it up there, you push that in with the thing being pinched closed, go past the old seal, push the pipe in, put the pin into it, it expands, and then you pull out that seal. That is really clever, and it's gentle on this tailpiece because these are getting hard to get and they're delicate and people do damage them.
Yeah, it doesn't damage it at all, doesn't touch it.
No, that is a very clever idea. Right, so let's have a look at Cliff's tool and how it works. This is the key section here. Really, it's just a bit of pipe rolled over at the end to make a lip with a split down the side. So you can squeeze it tight and it can be forced open again. Cliff's made that about 10 centimeters long. If I measure across here, the opening's about 35 mil and it's turned back just enough to give you a lip. Now the idea, you squeeze that and you push it over the shaft on the gearbox. You push it beyond the seal. Then once you've done that, you insert the second part. The second part opens this up, forces this out behind the seal. So the inner pipe opens up that groove behind the seal. The seal will be here on the gearbox. The lip is behind the seal. This pipe has opened this pipe out. You then put a pin through the two to hold them together, like that. And then on this end, Cliff's got a chain. And you literally jerk the chain like a slide hammer. Use it like a slide hammer. Jerk, jerk, jerk. And you will pull the seal. There's one on there from one he's done before. You pull the seal off. If I run it back to the front, you'll see how it goes. Here I've put an oil seal there to show what it's doing. The lip on the pipe catches the rubber seal. If that was in the gearbox, this pipe would have gone through, been expanded once inside the gearbox, and now when you pull it out, it's catching the seal. When you jerk the chain on the other end, you're pulling, boom, 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 and you pull out that seal. There's no drama, there's no fuss, there's no damage to the overdrive or gearbox tail. It just comes out. You don't get a lot more simple than that. But sometimes simple ideas are the best. Thoroughly recommend this. So when it comes to put the new oil seal in, we'll imagine this is a new one instead of an old worn out one. You have 35mm diameter here on the yoke. The outside diameter of the seal is 49.5mm. So what we've got here is a little sleeve that has just over 35mm on the inside, so we can get that in there, and 48.5 on the outside. And what you're then able to do is to line that up in the gearbox, feed the yoke carefully through the seal, and push that home into the gearbox tail. That will push that home with no significant disturbance. Remember, anytime you're going through a seal, plenty of oil, but plenty of oil on the yoke to do that. But that will push that home, you get your new seal in place. Once it's home, put the circlip in, then you're ready to put the prop shaft back on and carry on driving. Right,
so you're putting the new seal on, you put it on the shaft,
yeah,
put that
on there and in you go.
and just tackle it.
And I hope that is really, really good, Cliff. We'll share that. Well done. That is a simple way to remove and refit rear oil seals on gearboxes and overdrives. Well done, Cliff Johnson. Great idea. Well, I hope you found that video useful. With a bit of scaling up or scaling down, you could make that work on so many different classic cars. Different oil seals that are tricky to get to or tricky to get out. It's a great idea. Thanks again, Cliff, and thank you for letting us put it on the Sunbeam Alpine channel. Until the next time, it's goodbye from Oily Puddles Garage, goodbye from me, and hopefully we'll see you again soon. Thank you for watching.